Hi, Assalamualaikum. Good morning. Welcome to UMCCed today's topic, where we discuss about your everyday's topic to get more insights, views, and ultimately get more enlightened. We at UMCCed are striving to be your center of excellence for continuing education. My name is Ashad Shaharuddin, and I will be your moderator for today. So, these past few weeks have been very bogged up with a lot of UPU's results coming our way. And UM have been receiving a lot of students, a lot of inquiries, a lot of applications for our undergraduate intakes that are going to start very, very soon. So in light of that, we want to talk more about how to be a student. We're not talking about being a student in the four walls of a classroom, because being a student is just more than that. Being student, I will vouch that undergraduate years or university years have been the most exciting part of our life. So we want to make sure our students have been living that life the best of their own. So with us today is Ashifa Al-Junaid and also Sumaya Mazlan. We want to talk about student civic engagement. What is student civic engagement? We want to talk about how students can live their life outside of the four classrooms and learn more than that. We want them to engage with the society and also learn everything from the society to give back to the society. With us, I would invite Rashifa and also Sumaya to our speaker. Sorry. Oh, Rashifa suddenly got kicked out. Sumaya, I think you're muted.
Okay,
Uh,
all right. Hi, everyone.
Hi everyone. We just had Rashifa just now, but I think she had some connection problems. You know, we're all working from home, studying from home. So this is technical issues that we cannot, you know, elak. I don't know what elak in English, but avoid. Yeah.
Avoid.
Yeah. So Sumaya, since you are here, the floor is just for you. First and foremost, I thank you for being here. I know you've been quite busy these days. You're a student, you are an activist, and you also, I understand you are going to your internship quite soon.
Yes, in
Yeah,
October, inshallah.
in October. So just a few weeks, just a few days onto the October. So thank you for being here. So I give the floor to you to introduce yourself first. Who are
Okay.
you? What are you doing and what are you studying? Things like that.
Okay, cool. Right. First of all, I would like to thank Arshad, our moderator today, for inviting me to this platform to talk about, hopefully, to talk about student civic engagement. And so, yeah, I'm gonna introduce myself. My name is Sumaya Mama Mazlan. My family and friends call me Maya. I am currently the project manager for a small NGO, Teach for the Needs PJ, for the branch PJ. And while currently also working as a part-time service crew for Nando Subampre. Yeah.
I
And
see.
a little brief introduction about Teach for the Needs, PJ. It is actually founded by one of our senior volunteers, Miss Shahira Hamdan, who is now the headmaster of refugee schools at Kajang, Sekolah Islamia. So our aim at TFTNPJ is to actually provide education for the underprivileged children around PJ, and our beneficiaries is actually Pusat Jagaan Darul Sakinah, where we have 13 students range from standard 6 until form 5 students, and all
Mm,
boys. Yes.
mm,
So what we did at TFTNPJ is to uphold the community engagement between students and also to our beneficiaries lah. So
mm.
our main objective is actually all about volunteering and giving back to the society and sorts. So yeah,
Yeah, I
that's
have a
all
lot
from
of
me.
questions. Yeah, it's very interesting. I have a lot of questions for Teach for the Needs because education cost is something that we all should be looking forward at, and also you as a student, you fight for the same education cost at the same time. We are now having Rashifa back online due to her connection. Rashifa, are you there? You're muted, I think.
Yes, I am here.
Rashifa, I'm sorry we
Great.
got started without you.
It's okay. It's okay.
Okay, Rashifa, now it's your turn. So introduce about yourself and what are you working with and yeah, anything.
So my name is Sharifa Rashifa Al-Junaid, but a lot of people will call me Rashifa. I am a student of University Malaya. I'm studying International Studies and Strategies, and I'm currently on my third year. But I'm currently spending my semester in Korea in a city called Daegu, a few hours from Seoul. And also, I'm mostly here studying about mostly on culture and anthropology, which is actually my main interest, and also diplomacy, and focusing that on my thesis later. So, in terms of my engagement outside of activities, outside of university activities, are mostly on empowerment through education. A lot of the things that I've done is mostly trying to spread awareness on either climate activism or living with mental health issues or disabilities. And also, one of the main things that I focus on doing is empowering the next person or the person beside me. I think through empowerment, the confidence and also the belief that you have in yourself will have the power to educate the person beside you. And this is because of I think, how I was influenced by other people growing up. And I realized how the power of empowerment could actually do something, could actually make change. So I've been focusing on doing that, and also women empowerment and living with disability.
Interesting. This is why I am very excited to make this webinar with both of you because I understand that both of you are very powerful girls, are very insightful girls. So I want to have this discussion with young people about how to not only empower people, but also to share a cause that can bring up other people and also bring up us at the same time. And also the fact that it is a line that we just got this week that with our Undi 18 just got released. The bill just got released and is agreed by the government to be rolled out by the end of the year. I think it's very timely for us to talk about youth empowerment, about how Rashifa was saying about being empowered is about empowering a person next to you so they can live their life quality and also in terms of Sumaya, where she talk about her beneficiaries are reaching out to refugees, and we understand refugees are one of the most very vulnerable communities because they are being sidetracked by the government and they are living in a foreign country. So empowering them and empowering a lot of other people are also very important. So this is why I'm very excited to have both of you here. So and also one of my concern is that both of you are still an undergraduate students. Both of you are still studying. Both Rashifa in her third year and Sumaya is just a shy away in terms of starting her internship, meaning that both of you have started this engagement since the early years of your undergraduate years. And this is what I want to emphasize to our students that studying isn't just in the classroom. Isn't just about academically. It's just all about out there. So when you were studying in terms of Rashifaya, this is a question for you. When you were saying that you were there in terms of studying diplomacy and anthropology, the things that you are interested in, and that apparently will motivate your thesis. How does this syllabus, academic syllabus, push forward your goals, push forward your civic engagement goals? How does this classroom syllabus help you in terms of your civic engagement?
Um, so, because I was interested in going out from Malaysia, hopefully studying about South Korean diplomacy, focusing on cultural diplomacy. So I think it's about taking the initiative to get out of your comfort zone, but in a way that it won't harm your mental health and physical health. So I know that I have barricades in front of me, maybe bigger than somebody else in terms of my health. So I just have to make sure that I'm not pushing myself hard enough. So how this experience will help improve my academic engagement is that being outside has helped me a lot. I think being inside of class, it's we have a lot of discussions, especially in the international relations class. But I think going out from that class, that environment, will actually create more conversations. And I think it's not only the activities that I'm doing, but also talking to Koreans here. I think I get a different perspective than I get from Malaysia. So yeah, I think that hope that answers your question.
Yes, yes. It's very interesting, and for Sumaya, because Rashifa here is taking international relations and strategic studies. So in terms of civic engagement, her major is kind of closely related to what she's fighting for. It's very close. But in terms of you, Sumaya, I understood that your major is Japanese studies. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
that is
So
true.
yeah, so Sumaya is doing bachelor's in East Asia Japanese studies. So
Yeah.
yeah, so we talk about Japanese studies. It doesn't ring a bell in terms of civic engagement. It ring a bell about translator, writer, or things like that. It's a very stereotypical line of work. So how does education policy become your peak of interest in terms of your academic, what you learn academically? How does this related?
All right, okay. Thank you, Ashad, for that question. So in terms of what I learned in the classroom and how tiba-tiba dia bertukar jadi more to education policy kan, it's actually from my own experience. I think I get more involved in education when I was reading masa I sekolah menengah. I was very into all the fiksi books, all the indie books that was blooming at that time. So part of my writing was in high school was actually influenced by fiksi style punya writing. And so one of the books that really influenced me into getting education punya advocacy is actually a book written by Mr. Zulfikri Zamir, titled Sekolah Bukan Penjara, Universiti Bukan Kilang. So I was reading that masa sekolah menengah. So I was reading and I realized that rupa-rupanya kita punya education system ni is very um, it's wrong in a way, and macam it doesn't improve, if all the racial punya injustice, all the, and we are fighting for meritocracy right now. So that gave me the motivation to, okay, when I went out nanti dah masuk in university life, this is what I want to fight for, this is what I want to advocate for, which is education. So that is where I get the inspiration from. Yeah. So, and then because my major is actually Japanese studies, right? So macam tak nampak lah the connection semua tu kan, with what is civic engagement, it has to do with Japanese studies. So actually, I think it's with my department, we actually me and my friends actually successfully piloted a project which called Hewa Project. It is a peace project. The aim of the project is to actually spread nuclear awareness and the culture of peace. So apa yang mencetuskan the project is that the history of Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombings. So one of our program or activities is actually going out to local schools yang dekat dengan masa tu is SMK Sri Pantai yang dekat dengan bangsa tu kan. So we went to SMK Sri Pantai, we collaborate with the students there and to spread lah, to to spread the nuclear awareness and the culture of peace, where we also held other activities such as animation screening and what we call origami punya session. So it's a matter of finding whatever department that you are in. It's a matter of finding a way to collaborate with anyone. It's either it's anyone from your classmates or from other department. Collaborate for a project, for a program, and eventually go out to the society and do whatever that you can to because we are learning from the classroom, so kita nak bagi balik apa yang kita dah belajar dekat classroom to the society, to the community out there. Yeah, too long already. Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I think your explanation is very, very interesting because while listening to you, I was thinking that actually the matter of it doesn't matter of like what you study. It just the matter of anything you study can be a cause to spark a civic engagement. In terms of Somaya, I wouldn't have think a nuclear awareness is on top of my head. It's a very distant thing when we talk about because if you're in Korea or in Japanese, bombing a very typical thing for us to discuss about. Korea still have their safe house under the under the train tunnel, right? Because they are still practically in war with North Korea right now. So in terms of Malaysia, bombing isn't a very discussable issues. But the awareness is important nevertheless. So it's exciting how Maya came with that idea with her classmates to make engagement with the society on that topics. And when I was saying this, because civic engagement topic can be just about anything. Rashifa fought for climate change and female empowerment, and Sumaya talked about education policy. And it can be just about anything, just to empower people in any way. Educating people is important. And on top of that, when Sumaya was saying that what she learned in the classroom, she wanted to get back that outside. And I think it's also very noble thing to do because both of you would just agree to me that education at this point is a privilege. Education is important, but getting education is privilege for a lot of people. People just couldn't just waltz into the classroom and understand things. And on top of that, this may sound condescending, but mental capacity and mental health are also privileged to certain people. The way they comprehend things are not just the same as us. So it's important for us to relay our comprehension to other people to make it as simple as possible for the public to understand what we understand for a better society. So when both of you are doing this, I'm just impressed because safe to say, I am just like any other students. I'm just mediocre students who don't go out and engage with society. They may a certain platform that I use for my own personal benefits in terms of engagement. I go to conferences and everything, but this just for me, for myself, not for the society per se. And there's one thing when Sumaya talked about education policy that I did one engagement project with my classmate where we went to homeless person, in Jalan Alo and Bukit Bintang, where the moms are sex workers, right? So when their moms are working, quote unquote, so these children are getting outside of the house. They were placed outside of the house because their mom are working. So we have to take these children and we have to teach them ABC, Alif Bata, and they're just happy to be there and just coloring. And there's so much joy in their face. And I was just thinking, oh, holding a pencil color is a privilege that I get easily, but not everyone can get. So it's important for young people like us to go out there and not only in the classroom. Okay, I was saying this to a lot repeatedly, but yeah, that's my whole point. That's the point that I want to make this webinar. So and back to Rashifa, because she is studying international relations, right? So I took some of international relation courses, and they have a lot of um, theory policy that is written in the textbook. So how far is this policy from the reality of the cases out there. How far from it? For example, when we're talking about NGOs, there's a lot of NGOs. We talk about UN, we talk about ASEAN, but when also in the same things what happened in Myanmar, UN and ASEAN doesn't really voicing out. So how far is the what you learn in the class and the reality outside, Rashifa?
So the structure of a for international relations student in class is that we before we talk about theories or even before we start the class, we would usually talk about what has happened on the news. So I think a lot of lecturers in the IR department, which they are amazing for, is using examples from the outside world and also using these examples through these theories that was made like decades ago. And like they use these examples to make it relevant now. So one of the classes that I can really relate to and also this really encouraging me for the civic engagement with non-state actors. So I think in case in case anyone doesn't know what a non-state actor is that okay, for example, a state actor is like something like United Nations. A non-state actor can be an activist, or it can be like the three of us here. It's a uh, it's the power that we have to voice out. So I was when I was in university and it was my first semester, I was walking around with a play card, a climate crisis play card, and the lecturer was using me as an example of a non-state actor. And I think from there I realized that maybe if I spoke out about something, I shouldn't focus on okay, I'm just one person, what can I do? I think we shouldn't focus on that. We should focus on the conversations that we could encourage. And from that conversations, you are educating the person about climate crisis. And I think from there, I realized the power of just words, the words that you have and the words that you carry and the responsibility that you have from that word. And that ultimately encouraged me to do things outside of my class. And a lot of the things that I do are actually related to international relations, which is why I love my course so much.
Understand. Yes, Maya, you
If
have something to say?
I may add to Rashifa punya answers kan,
Mhm.
in terms of our courses and how we can relate to civic engagement and sorts. When I was in 2000 last year I had the chance to participate in the ASEAN and Korea Youth Summit. So it's a conference with 100 students from the ASEAN countries. And one of the groups that I was in is actually about discrimination, isolation, and injustice on individual groups and community. So when we were discussing on the types of discrimination, the types of isolation and injustice that not just in my countries but also in other ASEAN countries that are facing, and it sort of gives me a sense of, it's like an epiphany, that rupa-rupanya ada benda lain yang berlaku dekat negara-negara ini. In contohnya I get to present about the education inequalities in Malaysia. Some other countries get to contohnya Philippines, they present about the patriarchy punya system that has been going on for decades dekat Philippines and Myanmar, Vietnam, and so on. So it's that kind of brainstorming session would really give you the exposure on how you want to handle that situation correctly or effectively in the future. So yeah.
Yeah, I and I will definitely agree with that. I think that's what I personally wanted people to actually learn more about that because it's important for us to realize that we are not in our bubble alone. Whatever we see in Malaysia, that's not whatever it is. That's not all of it. And also, whatever you see from your point of view isn't all of it. There's a lot of things that are undercovered, and the things that we don't understand that a lot of people struggle to. And I'm particularly I'm also a little bit interested in education policy, and also a lot of my studies and my thesis are written in terms of female empowerment. And because I'm a male, I write from a male point of view, and also the fact that I don't have any sisters. My siblings are all boys. So the only family in my household is my mom. So female empowerment is a very distant thing for me to talk about. The only female I have is my nearest friend. So what I'm trying to say is that whatever you don't understand, whatever you don't see, doesn't necessarily you don't have to understand. In terms of me to lift a female empowerment, I have to understand that things first. So in term when Sumaya was saying that when she got together with in the ASEAN Youth Summit, there's a lot of things that she doesn't understand at that point of time. She started to understand. So yeah, um, that was something.
I may
In terms
add,
of
if I
yeah,
may
yes,
add to that one, I said about the power of words, but I think we also have to realize the power of listening as well. I think
true.
if you were from a male point of view, I think it's important to listen as well from your female counterparts to
Mm.
actually realize where the problem lies and what is actually the problem.
True, true. I think if you want to talk about female empowerment, there's a lot of discussions that I want to talk about, but I don't want to bring it out here because there was a long conversation.
Can be your
But yeah,
next topic.
it can be my next topic. But it is very true that in terms of a lot of us are actually reluctant to hear, reluctant to listen, but we always wanted to speak something. We always have something to say, but we don't want to listen. So that becomes number one problem. Especially, I would just say my male friends, my male, society. We always wanted to speak out, but we don't want to listen to our female counterparts. So that number one problem. But that's another topic that we can discuss about. I want to talk about Sumaya because Sumaya talked about her first interest in education policy because she read a book called Sekolah Bukan Penjara, Universiti Bukan
University
Kilang.
bukan kilang. Yes.
Yeah. So from your reading there, how does it different to your expectations when you come to the university yourself and you involve in education courses? How far is it different? Or is it just what they say art imitate lives?
Okay. All right. So, uh, when the title of the book is, it's very interesting because when the title itself encapsulates sekolah bukan penjara, I really feel like sekolah is a penjara because when I mentioned before, kan, my writing or essays were heavily influenced by the fiksi style punya writing. And I feel like masa I was writing for an essays dekat sekolah menengah, uh, you know, it was all a very formatted type. So kadang-kadang bila kita dah tulis, kita rasa macam, oh my god, this is so powerful. Tapi bila sampai dekat the teachers, diorang tak terima. Diorang tak terima apa yang kita cuba sampaikan. So benda tu, it has to be by the book. Apa yang kita tulis tu has to be by the book. And so that's how I feel, oh, okay, sekolah is a penjara, and that's why I was attracted to that book. And while university bukan kilang pula, I think we all will agree that for me lah, in my personal opinion, UM is a place where I get to because I have experience in diploma. I was in UITM, RAUP for diploma in computer science. So after 2 years, I decided to come back to study. And when I decided to come back to study, I macam okay, this time I nak masuk dekat university yang I nak, which is UM. So yeah, so we are very fortunate in UM that mungkin most of us will not agree that kita ada freedom of speech where we can talk about education inequality, and we emphasize a lot about meritocracy and so on. And so, yeah, it really depends on the environment that you are getting into. Yeah, it depends on the environment that you're getting into. If it's in another university, it might be different. If it's in UM, it might be different. So it depends on really how you want to be brought up to to the society, and how you want to blend in with the people. And so, yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah. I definitely can vouch for that, because before I got into UM, I was enrolled in another education institution, and I definitely can vouch when you were saying that UM have a bigger space and a more accepted space for people to talk about certain concepts. Um, so imagine me personally as a male talking about female empowerment in another education institution. I will just get, people wouldn't take me seriously. But in this institution, I was just proud to say that UM took me seriously, and whatever I say, they just take it into account. So I'm proud. I'm proud to say that UM is not, well. There's a lot of policy that we have to follow, of course. There's a lot of
Yes.
guidelines, but in terms of people to have their own opinions, UM is the platform for that. I will just vouch for that. Because I also a UM students, and I work for UM. So yeah. So that's why this webinar is just to encourage whoever watching this, whoever planning to go into UM. If you have an advocate that you want to fight for, you can use this platform. You can use UM as your platform to fight for the cause you're fighting for. So yeah. And okay, we're done talking about whatever happened in the classroom and whatever happened academically. Now we want to talk about your personal growth, your skill set. In terms of the civic engagement, how does this help your skill set? We'll start off with Shifa. In terms of when you talk, sorry, Shifa.
Sorry, I can't hear the question.
When we talk about civic engagement, right? And your particularly civic engagement are talking about empowerment. So how your civic engagement that you are engaged with help to build your skill sets?
Okay, so I started doing activities and doing things outside of class since I was high school. I think that was the privilege that I had because of the school that I was in, and then the opportunities that I was offered. And I just realized that doing things outside of class could actually make me become a better person. So that's what I did since high school. And then when I entered university, I really wanted to enter University Malaya. So that's why I entered UMCCed and UM for my degree. So when I entered University Malaya, there was just a culture of encouraging people to do activities and building their own projects, and just the lecturers was just so supportive of you doing these activities. They did encourage us to grow outside of class, at least in my department, because of the structure that we had. So what these activities and this experience has taught me is that the confidence that, I don't know, I just feel that sometimes the confidence that I've had was because of the family that I grew up in. So I wanted to use this confidence to help other people. So I learned that, again, the power of words and also the power of listening was actually really important with engaging other people, and that networking of people that I've had could actually help me grow as well. So yeah, and I just I did a lot of wrong things, and hopefully I did right things, but those wrong things has also taught me things as well. I was always practicing mind over matter, which can actually be harmful for you if you don't rest and take care of your mental health. So that was also a thing that I've learned. And yeah, the things that I've learned was not I just couldn't learn it in class. A class, you learn about theories and you learn about things that happen in the world, but the things that you learn outside of class was practical. You had to get your hands dirty, you had to talk to people, and those things will ultimately help you grow as a person as well.
Correct, correct. I very much agree with that. What about you, Sumaya? What any new set of skills that you learn during your engagement with the society?
Yeah, so what I have learned from my experiences by engaging with the society is that as I totally agree with Rashifa when she mentions that listening skills is very important, and if I may add, empathy. Yeah, empathy and listening skills. I think that is the most crucial skills that I have learned throughout my experience in civic engagement because um, from my experience in volunteering with the TFT and PJ and then becoming their project manager. Um, so when you are working with underprivileged children, you will have that sense of macam Arshad mentioned kan, we are education is a privilege. When education has become a privilege, it has affected the minorities and also the marginalized children, especially from a lower income punya background families like B40. And right now M40 is also has been greatly influenced juga kan because of the pandemic. And so it's important to show the empathy that you can to the society by showing that kind of empathy. You get to how I would say, well, I like to describe this. Dia macam there's like a sense of responsibility that you have to give up, that you have to give back to the society. Ataupun bak kata Ustaz Hazrizal from his book, erti hidup itu pada memberi, kan? So bila kita as a student, kita belajar in the classroom, we hang out with our friends, but at the end of the day, what matter the most as being a student, as a privileged student who gets the education, in a way kita kena bagi balik dekat the society because they need it, they need us, and that is why we are here today. So yeah, empathy and listening skills is very much the skills that I have attained from my experience through civic engagement. Yeah.
That is very, very, very inspiring when you said that arti hidup itu pada memberi. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes,
Yeah,
erti hidup pada
because
memberi.
yeah, and also when you mentioned about empathy, because I think by this pandemic, we started to see a lot of people struggling out of hands, people losing jobs, people losing their families, and we are supposed to be there and just giving out as much as we could. It's not in terms of what we get, but it's in terms of what we can give to other people. So yeah, a society with full of empathy is just a society that will strive nevertheless. So yeah, that's very good. That's very well worded, Sumaya. I really like that. And okay, now we're talking about skills because both of you mentioned what skills that you learned. The art of words, the art of listening, the art of empathy. These are not only for you to be a better student. This is on top of everything is to make everyone to be a better person. So because that's what we want to make. When Sumaya said university bukan kilang, and the connotation that kilang have is to make a repetitive product, a conformist product, a product that listen to an instruction. And when we are saying that university is not a kilang, bukan sebuah kilang, we want to make a student that have their own individualities, their own set of empathy, their own set of listening, their own set of speaking. So that what we want to make it out here as at UMCCed and also at eventually. So let's move on to creating values for you as yourself, because we were talking about how civic engagement influence you. Civic engagement have influenced you to have more empathy, to have more listening skills. But what you as a person give to your civic engagement activities. What about you, Rashifa? What sparks you? What makes you to ignite your civic engagement on top of academic? What's your apa orang kata membara hati tu yang membuatkan you nak you nak keluar and serve the people?
I think definitely seeing other people doing activism and empowering other people. I think I think I am who I am today because of the people around me and the people that I've seen doing such amazing work. I jenis orang yang senang. I'm a sensitive person. I cry a lot. I think that when a person is doing good stuff, I rasa I kena buat juga. Macam benda tu sangat inspiring for me. And also macam when I was in KL lah, macam KL is such an amazing place for me because I'm from Johor Bahru. Johor Bahru when I was growing up macam tak ada apa-apa sangat. So when I had the privilege to be in KL to study in UMCCed, I just joined a lot of stuff. I joined a lot of forums, a lot of talks. Dulu macam physical ones lah kan. So macam these people kept inspiring and I was loaded with inspiration. I needed to let it out. So that's what I did. I tried, hopefully I did try to inspire other people to realize about the problems in the world. And I think the thing that sparks me most is definitely the influence that my parents had in me. My parents pernah cakap macam tangan yang di atas lebih baik daripada tangan yang di bawah. Like what you said just now, it's not about what you get, it's about what you give to society. And that was important to me. That was one of the strongest foundation that I had to live with. And I don't know, I think I am who I am because of the person around me and the experience that I've had. And kadang-kadang we tak rasa sangat the skills that we've attained, whether we've become a good person or a more responsible person, kita tak rasa sangat. But then when it comes to doing activities or even being in class, like how you answer your exam questions, your perspective, benda-benda tu akan terkeluar, baru you akan rasa, oh, I've become this person. This person has influenced me. I've think differently because of this person.
Interesting. Well, I just have to say because like I said previously, I am particularly interested in the female empowerment, and a lot of people asking me like, why would a cis man are interested to become a feminist, right? Because I'm a Malay male Muslim in Malaysia. I'm on top of the privilege pyramid, right? I have nothing to lose. So why am I supposed to fight for female counterpart? They're supposed to fight for themselves. So what about you, Sumaya? Are you? I'm sorry if this question is offensive, but does your education background ignite you to fight for education policy? Because let's say you are underprivileged in terms of your education background, you are underprivileged. Did that spark you what you started to fight for education policy? Or is it just I want to fight for education policy? Does that work?
Okay, so the question was what sparks or the
Yeah.
motivation behind
Yeah,
my
yeah,
advocacy
yeah.
for education policy. Okay. Okay, when I was in actually masa sekolah, okay, because education, so I want to kaitkan dengan sekolah lah. When I was in sekolah rendah in primary school, I was actually in SJKC in Chinese school. So after in standard 6, I had to move to sekolah kebangsaan. So there, dekat sekolah kebangsaan tu, I was really culture shock with the cara not just by the students punya apa tu, you know, macam tiba-tiba ada kau ni bodoh lah tiba-tiba macam tu macam aku cakap aku bodoh macam tu kan. So and also how the way the teachers are treating the students in front in class yang the first class dengan kelas yang dekat belakang kan. So bila not to boast anything or whatever, masa dekat sekolah in Chinese school, I was in the first class. And then bila I pindah masuk dekat sekolah kebangsaan, I was in the last class. So I have the experience of being in masa dekat last class tu, I can see that the teachers are very unmotivated to teach us. And I was like, kenapa macam tu kan? Kita datang nak, iyalah kita ni dekat kelas belakang walaupun we are very macam nakal apa benda semua tu, but still your responsibility is as a teacher, you have to give the best with what you can. So after that my mom macam, kenapa you masukkan anak I dekat sekolah, dekat kelas last? So after some interruptions from my parents and the school, so I dipindahkan semula ke kelas, not the first class but in the middle class. So macam I can really experience the difference of the way the teachers mengajar in the last class dengan in the middle class, where the teachers are very passionate, macam bersungguh-sungguh, and it's like, this is so wrong, you know, this is very, very wrong. And I feel very, very bad for my classmates masa dekat kelas belakang sebab they didn't get the same quality education that they supposed to get when they're in school, as opposed to me yang dah masuk dekat middle class and I have the privilege to learn from the best teachers among the subjects, contohnya BI ke maths or science, whatever kan. And so that sparks me that really sparks me to do some difference in the way that I am treating people, in the way that, you know, nanti dah masuk diploma nanti, okay, I want to volunteer for the students dekat schools if they open volunteering punya session or whatever, and I want to help these kids to get the best education that they can, where they are being abandoned by the teachers and such. So that really sparks me and ignites me to do something about the education that Malaysia is very, very, I would honestly say Malaysia is very lacking in terms of having a framework that is, you know, that is very structured punya framework for this education system in Malaysia. And we need to do much, much more. And we cannot do that sebab youth is being sekat. Kita tak boleh nak buat apa kan. So that is why we have to voice out our opinions. We have to voice out our concerns. If not, then there's nothing that there's nothing difference yang akan kita lihat sekarang.
Understand, and that's why I was saying that people who experience these problems are the one who will fight for the causes, because they work through the problems firsthand, so they know how it feels like, that they feel like, oh, I needed to do something to make things better, you know, for a better future. And that's rely on us being the youngsters. Well, I'm still young, so we are supposed to fight for these causes. And when we're talking about young people, and I know there's a lot of connotation and a lot of narrative going on around, and we're saying that, oh, youngsters are the new power in terms of policy making and things like that. We just, like I mentioned just now, UDI 18 are just built out for things to take out on the at the end of the year. But while you were campaigning for this, for various motions, Rashifa, my question is, what are the assumptions that people bring to you? Being a young people, you are barely, you're not even 23, right? You're 22, 23, 22, yeah.
22.
So Rashifa is very, very young. She's 22. So what are the assumptions that people bring in? Like, she's not even like 22. Why are she fighting for certain causes? So what are the assumptions that people bring to you?
Well, first and foremost, this is so weird to say, but I'm not usually with people who are much older. I usually, even in university, you're surrounded with youth. It's literally the place that has the most youth in like
Mm,
in other places. So even like these past 2 years, we've been online. We've been relying a lot on social media. So even I follow and followed by a lot of youth. But I think people have this misconception about youth because they don't know anything. But in reality, we are the most affected by a lot of problems by politics, social, economic situation in Malaysia. We are affected by unemployment, minimum wage, education, social issues. We are most affected by that, unfortunately. So I think the reason why we are like this in Malaysia right now is because of the problems that kept piling up on us, and we just can't take it anymore. So yeah, I think the misconception of how can I say this, older people is because they're not living as a youth right now. I think that is why they don't understand and they don't realize the weight of the responsibility that we have.
true, true. And there's a lot of connotation going around that kita cukup makan garam, setahun jagung. So these are the connotations that everyone that we are always getting. So, but also I will definitely agree with Rashifa that youth have more weight on their shoulders in terms of minimum wage. We are barely surviving. The empowerment that we don't get, the voices that we don't have in the policy making, and that affected us quite a lot. And okay, this is my last section of the webinar. When I want to ask Sumaya first, in terms of you are on the way of finishing your studies, you're undergraduating. After the internship, you're probably going to finish your studies. Where are you seeing your future in terms of civic engagement? Is because you are now fighting, you are working with teaching for the needs. Is this civic engagement is gonna be your future career, or how are you working, or are you going back to the corporate world?
Okay. Um, Personally, I was hoping to get into the corporate world, while civic engagement would be my as a side hustle, because yeah, I already have a goal for next year, which is to get into the corporate world. But yeah, civic engagement, and me become volunteering for the project manager for the TNPJ. I have that responsibilities of, before I can find a new person to replace me, I hope that I can have it have still have that what you call it, jawatan no, the project manager as a TFTNPJ kan, as a side hustle. So it really depends on your personal preferences, on how you want to have it as your career, macam you mentioned earlier kan, like Dayan and Shami, where they are really involved with the civic engagement, and at the end of the day it has become their professional career. And of course it can be your personal preferences as well. If you are very into the corporate world, then you can give this civic engagement as part of your side hustle, and if it's not, then it's totally up to you.
I understand. Because in my personal opinions, you don't have to let go of one thing in terms of getting other things. You can just get both things at the same time, and you're just gonna strive both because all of us are capable of doing that anyway. What
Yes.
about Rashifa? I guess that's what you were saying.
Yeah, if I may add, actually, I believe we all we are surrounded with so many when we are advocating for something and we are involved with the NGOs or the causes that we are in, right? Sometimes I will honestly say that sometimes I feel very intimidated by what other person can do, what my comrades could do. Sometimes I feel like, oh, am I doing enough? And then one of my dear friends told me, we don't have the same capabilities or abilities, but what we need is consistency. If we can be consistent in whatever that we are doing, then inshallah it will be all good and everything will be all well, inshallah. So the important thing is to consistent with the cause or anything that you are advocating for right now.
True, understand. So what about you, Rashifa? How are you seeing this in the future? You are very young. You have a lot of future in your hand to be planned to. Are you seeing civic engagement to be the pioneer of your future career?
Mm. Truthfully, I think engagement in itself, networking with other people, is fortunately the skill that I have, and I really want to utilize it in the maximum. I think I enjoy talking to other people. I enjoy networking with people, building that connections. So I think this is a lot of people do this. They use the skills that they have to their own benefit or to the society's benefit. So I'm not sure. I have no idea what I'm going to do tomorrow, so I have no idea what I'm going to do in the future. So I think, yeah, hopefully I can still do this after I graduate because I really enjoy doing it. I enjoy talking to people, as I said. Yeah, I'll leave it up to
To the
my
future.
future me thinking about it.
True, true. I understand because we don't know what the future holds. There's a lot of surprises out there that we're gonna go and explore. So if you have a say onto anything today, it might not be what we wanted tomorrow, right? So correct. So yeah, I think that's all from me. That's all for my. I would just have another round of questions for both of you, Sumaya and Roshifa. Since we are now taking a lot of students, UTP results are just came out, so a lot of eager students are coming into our universities. So what are the last few words as well, not yet alumni, still a student of UC Malaya. So what do you have a few words to our juniors out there? Sumaya first.
Okay, so my advice to our freshies out there. So if I may, okay lah, my advice is that schooling days may be an accretion of facts, but it takes self-initiative. It takes self-initiative. I think when we were discussing about this yesterday, we were talking about self-initiative, kan? Whether it is participating in a club or you are involving with projects or whatever. Self-initiative is the uh, most important drive lah to apply to the facts that whatever that you are learning in school will be used in the real world, whether it's in a professional career that you are attaining or personal development. Self-initiative is important. That will be my advice for all the new freshies that has masuk kat UM.
Understand. Thank you, Sumaya. So what about you, Rashifa? Any last few words?
These are like the words that I wish that I heard when I was a freshie, and it really just do it. If you think that the thing that you want to do will help you become a better person, just do it. When it even it's just like wearing a play card that says climate crisis, you have no idea how that will change you as a person and how you will look like in the future. And yeah, something as simple as just wearing a play card has, I think, just changed my life, and I became the person that I am today. I think I'm in Korea because of the confidence I culminated from that experience. So yeah, just do it, but make sure you're not harming yourself or other people.
Understand. Okay, I think that's it for us now. I would thank you, Sumaya and Rashifa, so much for joining us. This is very insightful, inspiring. I would love to have you more in the future. We can talk about other topics. We can talk about education blueprint policy. We can talk about empowerment. I would love to use this platform to invite both of you back and discuss on more issues that we're gonna do in the future. So for now, that's all from me. Thank you, Rashifa and Sumaya. We'll see you again. Okay, so everyone, thank you for watching us. So thank you for tuning in for our today's topic webinars by the UMCCed. As you all know, our open applications to UM is still open until the 24th of September, this Friday. So you can head into our website www.umcced.edu.my to check on your interesting courses that you wanted to take in, and then you can just apply from there. I wish you all the best. See you in the UM. Thank you so much. Assalamualaikum.